right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another podcast from the Banya. Today we've got special co-host RB Macturk joining us, filling in for Dana. Dana's off in the two most beautiful places in Arizona, Yuma and Kingman. So,
bless
have
him.
fun, Dana. Super pumped about our guest today, Nick Addante, owner of Arcadia Meat Market in Central Phoenix. So welcome, Nick.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, as the guest in the hot seat, you get to control the water on the rock. So if you want to get it any spicier throughout the podcast, feel free. Let's get a quick temperature reading. Oh, man. 210. I don't know about that thermometer, Sean. What do you think?
No. It doesn't.
No way.
I mean, we all just got into the cold tub, too, so.
Yeah, that's true.
We all acclimated.
Did you jump in, Sean?
I actually did.
Oh,
Everybody
nice.
got in.
Oh, I should say, too, sitting in the corner today, we have another special guest, Sean Babbins, a.k.a. Babbins.
What's that called? Where someone sits in the corner and watches? There's a word for that, right?
Yeah. If you're looking through the window, you know, peeping Tom, but I'm sure you'll be doing that too. All right, let's jump into it. So I'm a huge fan of Nick and his business. He's got a shop. Cross Streets are 40th and Indian School, right?
Yes, sir.
So it's a very small shop, but it curates some of the best food you can get in Arizona. And I'll let Nick jump in here, but my take on it, it's all fresh, good food. Something I wish, I've told him this 5-6 times already, I wish he'd put one up here next to our house. I wish there was a shop like this on every corner, just, you know, selling people good, wholesome food. So go ahead, Nick.
Delivery.
Yeah.
It's coming soon. So, So we decided to open, or I guess I decided to open the butcher shop in
like that.
2016. I became a partner in Arizona Grass Raised Beef, and then I decided to open the shop at the very beginning of 17.
Oh, I didn't know. So you're working with Tim.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's my partner.
Oh, gotcha. I didn't know
so
you.
That's how I got into this whole thing.
Gotcha. Awesome. I thought they were just like a supplier of yours.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
I had a cousin that had invested in that business because his friend was helping Tim out, and so they decided to split the money and kind of be partners on the money side of things. And then Tim was going to operate everything, which he still does today. Thank God. He's a true cattleman.
Yep.
So, anyways, that was the very beginning of Arcadia. Was really Arizona Grass Raised Beef. And then I started to go out during the week to restaurants and try to get chefs to, you know, hey, what do you want to sample? What can I get in your kitchen?
Right.
And that proved to be pretty tough to do. And I learned real quick that's not the route I wanted to take. Because we were already in distribution too. So I couldn't go undercut Shamrock or Cisco or anything like that.
Right.
So I thought, you know, fuck it. I'm going to open a shop where people will come to me.
I'm
that
gonna
want what we have.
I want to say something too with that too, and I've noticed this in the alcohol industry. Like there's a lot, and this is changing. There's more and more shops that are looking for good stuff, but there's so many places that are just lazy with their purchasing.
Oh yeah.
And like they just want to deal with like a couple big wholesalers and buy the cheapest shit they possibly can. And it's a bummer. Like even places, I won't name any names, but places that market themselves as like healthy, you know, they're cutting corners on pretty much all the stuff they're buying. You know,
Everything
it's a
that
bummer.
comes from any of the major distributors, they offer some things organic, but most of it is commodity. And I have friends that own restaurants, and I've tried to get our beef in there, and sometimes it's worked and sometimes it hasn't. And you know, the bottom line, it comes down to cost.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's flavor. I've had people turn down our ground beef because that's the number one item I would like to wholesale, because it helps grease the wheels everywhere else. You know, that's the bulk of the cow. And I've had people do taste tests side by side with commodity, and they've chosen to go with the commodity because it's what they're used to. They like the flavor, they like the texture, they like the way it holds up when you cook it longer. If it's well done, it doesn't, you know, become a brick.
Right.
But,
Yep.
you know, I think that there's something for everybody, and there is enough mouths to feed, and for those who care, you know, that's what we're there for.
Yeah.
So what you're saying, everything you do is in-house. You know where all your beef comes from?
Oh, yeah.
That's huge.
I mean, we sell Japanese Wagyu and Australian Wagyu,
sure.
and we sell elk and
Okay.
venison and bison, and that's all from out of state.
Yeah.
But all the beef, the bulk of the grass-fed beef is from our company, and that's either from my partner Tim's ranch or any of his ranches. He has a number of them, or from one of our producers here in the state. It's all born and raised in Arizona. It's all free range. It's never been on a feedlot, never been on grain. The fat that you get in some of the older cows, a lot of it is from mesquite beans. So anything that you see in our case that's really well marbled, it's because they've been eating like Palo Verde beans, mesquite beans, jojoba beans, everything that's out there, the native grasses and legumes in Arizona.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many people have told me this is the best fill in the blank.
Yeah.
Whether it's like a filet or a chuck roast or ground beef. And that's what got me to think, well, fuck, I'll sell this to everybody and not just work the farmer's market and not try and chase down chefs.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I had a friend that was a contractor, so I worked with him and spent every penny I had to get it all done, and then ran out of money and went to my buddies, and I was like, hey, so I need some inventory.
Yeah.
And I need money in the bank. So
Yeah.
3 of my friends were able to come up with some scratch and help me out.
What year was that?
We built it in 17.
Okay.
In September, I signed the lease in May of 17. Construction started September, and we opened January 11th of 2018.
Okay.
So it's been 7 years as of like a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
I think from a consumer standpoint, that's huge. I think seems like the last 3 or 4 years, people are a lot more conscious about their health. People are more willing to spend the money on organic food, like free range beef, not going to the grocery store. And so knowing that I'd be purchasing beef that you know where it's from, you know what lot it was, not lot, but the fields that, the cattle were grazing in, what they were eating. It's not just ground beef from the grocery store. You don't know where it came from or how long it's been sitting there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and the other thing is, I mean, we're doing one animal at a time at our plant, where we process anywhere from 10 to 15 in a day, roughly. And
Cool.
These larger packing plants, they'll do like a couple thousand in a day.
Yeah.
I won't
And
say
they use everything,
Yeah.
because they can. Like, we
Yeah.
have to throw the hides away because it doesn't make sense for us to clean it, package it, ship it for
Yeah.
$30.
I won't say
You know,
where it is,
which
but
sucks, but
there's a
certain
plant in the
things we can't
valley
see.
that I work near that I've been into on calls through the fire department, and going in there makes me not want to buy beef from the grocery store.
Yeah, I know who
It's
you're talking
it's
about. And
insane.
we got to feed the masses. I understand that, but I kind of disagree with that whole industry.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things we could go into, but subsidies and other
Yeah.
things kind of fall into
Sure.
those.
Well, and I'm
into
sure
that discussion.
So Tim and you guys have the only. Tim told me this, so I'm just going off what he said. But he's the only rancher in the Western United States that has his own USDA processing facility. That's right.
I mean,
yeah.
we're there's Scott at Hartquist Hollow.
Okay.
His is going to be USDA. He's been approved. He's under construction. He's had a state inspected plant. Great guy. Like, buy from him. Buy from anybody like him. He's doing pretty much what we're doing, but he raises lamb and pork, and he focuses on those genetics.
Gotcha.
And then he also buys beef, just like we buy beef from other producers here in the state.
Okay. So
Well,
if I'm a dude, sorry, Luke, if I'm a dude off the street and I want to come in and get like a quarter beef, do you guys do that, or are you just selling like cuts and smaller batches?
Through the butcher shop, we're doing all the different cuts.
Okay.
And sausages and patties
Okay.
and all that. We do
Okay.
beef, lamb, chicken, pork,
Wow.
like whole animal. And then I also buy supplemental cuts from the beef business. But the quarter, half, and whole beef is all done through azgrassraisedbeef.com,
Yeah.
Okay.
which is my website.
azgrassraisedbeef.com.
Yes,
Do
sir.
you not listen to the podcast, RP?
I do. I try to keep up on
I've
it.
been taught. Dana and I, my co-host and I, our cow gets delivered tomorrow. Actually, we just bought a full cow. So
I missed the
I'm
invitation
so sorry I
on
didn't know
that.
I don't. I mean, there's a lot on my
obviously,
plate.
Next
I don't
time,
look at
I'm
our-
in
not
next time.
listening.
Shit,
So,
man.
anyways, yeah, we're pumped to get it.
That's cool,
But
dude.
yeah, and I've been just preaching about it, dude. Because like you do the math, and it's like it's $12 a pound or something like that, and yeah, a lot of it's ground beef, but a ton of it's also choice cuts.
You get everything.
So it's like the math is, if you can figure out a way to store it, and I've already offered, to everybody in our community that listens, my freezer down at our warehouse, we got a 5,000 square foot freezer, so that's open to anybody that wants to use that. It's, you go in on that with a couple people, and you're going to save a ton of money, and you're going to eat better.
For sure.
That simple.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, right now our ground beef on our website is $9 a pound if you buy 10.
Mm-hmm.
We just threw it on sale. It's on sale now through the end of the month for $7.20 a pound, which is 20% off. That's a no-brainer.
It is. Yeah.
You have to pay for shipping right now as it stands, but we just changed our site to allow customers to select a day that they want to pick up at the butcher shop, so they'll be able to place an order online at AZ and then pick it up Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday at the shop.
Yeah.
So we're limited on freezer space, obviously, there, because I got an 8x10.
Yeah.
So you're looking at 5,000 feet. I got 80.
You got it, dude.
Let me know if you need some help there, dude.
I do. We pay Arizona Cold Storage right now for storage, so
no.
we're gonna talk
come
later.
on over to Banya Brothers. But yeah, but circling back though, my main point was, sorry, Sean, could you throw another log in there? Get a couple pieces in there. Thanks, bud. Yeah, go for it. Hit us with some water. Spoon's right there. Burn Sean.
Give us a big dog.
Would you throw one piece in there?
Yeah, give us a big dog. We want it hot.
Yeah. Fill that sucker up, dude.
Yeah.
There we go. Thanks, Sean.
Oh, are we doing tonight?
No.
Okay.
No, those need to. Yeah, we'll pick a day.
Okay.
Ooh.
There we go.
All right.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Spice things up a bit. So yeah, outside of the beef that we offer, we do pasture-raised pork, lamb, and chicken.
Mm-hmm.
That's fresh, delivered fresh every week. Our lamb that we're getting right now is out of Wilcox. I've got pork from that same farmer for the entirety of our being open for business, and right now I've got a supplier that's able to get us more consistent quality, like size and skin on and all that, that's coming out of Washington. So we've switched our pork to Washington for now.
Gotcha.
And right now in the state of Arizona, there's not anybody that I know of. So if anybody out there knows of a chicken farm that can supply us with chicken every week, send them my way. But right now we're getting them out of Pescadero, California. And it's a farm called Fogline. So both of those programs are all 100% organic. The pork, something that I really like and that makes it viable for, the person raising the livestock, is if they're actually farming and growing their own feed. That's what kind of keeps people from doing this stuff. So chicken has gotten really expensive because the price of grain has gone up. Well, if you're raising chickens for eggs or for meat, that just kills your business. Because of the war in Ukraine. Ever since that happened, everything has doubled and tripled, and
that's why you got to go Joel Salatin style and just pull them through your fields.
Is that because they're importing grain from Ukraine?
Well, it's because the grain, it's subsidized so that farmers don't grow it, and it's controlled. The supply is controlled by the government, and then the price of organic specifically is, it goes up for a number of reasons. One of them, there's just not a lot of farms that can afford to grow organic seed because they have to make sure that their seed isn't going to cross-pollinate with the farm next to them. If it does, or if there's any possibility of that, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So like the bulk of what everybody grows is commodity, just because it makes financial sense. Because if Monsanto knocks on their door and they say, hey, you're growing our corn,
we can see your tag,
and you didn't pay us for your seed, they're, from what I understand, the farmer has to pay them. And so it makes it just tough. And so the supply is controlled. There's not as many growers growing it, but the ones that do, like Josh down in Wilcox at Chiricahua Pasture Raised Meats, he grows his own feed. His dad was a corn farmer when they moved out here in the early 90s. And so he and his brother have continued that. And I think his brother's gone now off the farm, but him and his cousin are still farming. His cousin raises hogs and beef, and they've certified their pastures organic. So we get our turkeys from him as well during the holidays. But I wish there were 10 of him, just like you wish there were one of us on every corner. I wish there were more Josh Cohens.
It's hard in Arizona, I'm sure. But that's what that always bothered me. Like, local is great and it is awesome, but like being too far into that is a little silly to me. Like for example, like I was doing the farmers market. I applied to do one here at the Cactus Street one, and they wouldn't let me in. My dad has a small olive mill. He grows his own olives, organic. He's got a Paralisi Italian olive mill. It's in California.
Cool.
And they go, no, it's not local. And Queen Creek wasn't even selling in this farmer's market. And I'm walking through, and there's this dude. He's like making empanadas, and he's selling like avocado oil from Mexico. And I'm just like, get off your high horse with the local shit. You know, it's like, does it come from a small family farm that's doing it right? Like, that's really all that matters. I mean, of course we want to support our local communities, but if there's something like you said, you're having a hard time finding something, why not? Like, dude, it's
quality
okay.
is the answer, right?
Yeah.
And like, I'm not going to sacrifice going to somebody local if the quality isn't as good.
Yes,
And I can go
good.
to somebody local where the quality isn't as good and it's not organic. And I did that during COVID for a while, and you know, we had to tell people, it was the only thing in the shop that we had to tell people wasn't organic while they were purchasing it. We had to tell it to every person.
Yeah.
You know, and it's there on the sign, but still, I have to communicate that as an owner, and you know, as my staff, my team's got to communicate that, because when people walk in the door, they expect everything's clean, and I need to be able to sleep at night.
Yeah,
You
for
know,
sure.
and so we've gone months as a total. In the last 7 years, we've probably gone a year without chicken. Like literally, we've gone 4 to 6 months without pork. Like there's
Listening, Lance? We got a buddy that wants to start something. So
Hey, you know,
Let's go,
supply
baby.
chain is depending on what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, it's a factor.
Do you
So
sell? Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, for beef, like, we're covered.
Yeah.
You know, and all the rest of the stuff, I can get salt, and we had a hard time getting some of our olive oils because all that stuff I get from Italy, and during COVID, you know, there was limited supply.
Yeah.
And Italy was shut down.
Yeah.
So we only could get what we had the harvest the year before.
Yeah.
So I bought a bunch of stuff, and then we had to like let it ride, and then just wait until
COVID
next November.
fucked a lot of small businesses. I feel like.
It hurt some, and you know, for us, it saved our ass. Like,
Yeah.
I still was losing money, and I didn't understand it, which thank God for the COVID money, because I did take that.
Yeah.
And I did receive ERC, which the day that the ERC hit my account, I was going to take a loan from my own personal account to fund the business. You know, I've always erred on the side of paying more for the product and also paying my staff. Like, I want to make sure they're not stressing
Sure.
about money. I'll take that on.
Yeah.
But yeah, supply chain and so many things hurt a lot of businesses. And for us, other businesses like restaurants shutting down put people in their homes to cook. And for Arcadia, it was, here we are.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
You guys want to learn how to cook some of this shit? You know, we can
Yeah.
teach you.
Yep.
And I've always thought, you know, great, I got to put videos up, and my guys got to put videos up so we can teach and like do recipes. Well, I'm not a recipe cooker.
Yeah.
You know, I'm pretty
Yeah.
simple. I want to eat in like 20 to 30 minutes.
Salt, pepper, syrup. Boom.
You know, hey, take the steak home and let it temper for an hour before you cook it. I'm
Right.
pulling mine out of the refrigerator in like
Yeah.
5 minutes. It's on the grill just because it's a time factor.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
yeah, it's been fun to connect with all those people and then continue to grow our customer base since then, because
Yeah.
we became much more known during COVID.
Yeah. I imagine, that was a good boost for putting you guys on the map for sure.
Totally.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned olive oil. You guys sell product other than meat?
Absolutely.
They've got, sorry to cut in because this was one of my favorites. They've got non-pasteurized milk. So
Okay.
They've got it's raw, right?
yeah, raw milk from Golden Rule Dairy.
So walk me through. I still don't what the rules and regs on raw milk. I know it's like state by state, whatever.
I'm not a dairyman, but I know you can sell raw milk in Arizona.
Okay.
Nice. It's controversial, just like everything else. I feel like if you have a choice in the matter, you should feel like you can put whatever you want in your body.
Right.
Whether it's raw fucking milk or LSD.
Yeah.
You know, I
Amen,
don't care.
dude.
Like,
Yeah.
live it up. But the government kind of puts their hand in things because they want to control, just like, well,
See how
they
well
should
that's done
in
for
some.
us.
I don't want to talk shit because there's a system that needs to be put in place to keep everybody safe.
But there's a lot of
and they do
overreach
that.
too.
But when it comes down to, hey, this person died from drinking raw milk, everybody should suffer. I don't agree with that. There's a lot of people that die from all sorts of foods, and we eat those everywhere.
Well,
Yeah.
also take a look around at at what is it, 60% of our population that's obese, and just like all these regulations aren't doing shit to protect, you know, our kids and stuff from just having sodas and candies and marshmallows shoved in on their face every aisle they walk down, you know.
Everything in the grocery store has stuff. There's 72, I think, is the number of food additives that are allowed here in the States that aren't allowed in Europe, like roughly.
That's
ballpark.
crazy, dude. Well, even Canada.
70,
You saw the
it's-
hearing?
I thought it was like in the thousands.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's in the.
As far as chemicals go, though, like
yeah, okay.
like chemicals that aren't allowed. I know
I'm talking like total number of like there's a 700, like in Europe it's 700, and the number here is 7,000 or something like that, and that's just like blanketed like between red dye or whatever.
Yellow 5.
Yeah, all that shit.
Shit, I had no idea it was bad for you when I was young.
Right.
I still kind of
Yeah.
didn't until, I don't know, a few years ago when I had a kid, and then all of a sudden I got to start paying attention. Like, I
Exactly.
didn't plan on that. And so I thought, hey, I'll just keep myself healthy.
Well, dude,
and fuck off all I want. But
I've
now
never
it's
been to
important.
Europe, but I have buddies who've been to Europe, and like, you know, they'll grab a pizza or pasta, and it's, from what I've heard, it's totally different. It's not as filling. There's not all the bullshit and additives. You know, you eat half a pizza right now here, you're going to be sitting on the couch for 3 hours. But you go to Italy and eat a pizza, it's lighter, it's better. You can taste the difference, even if you get fast food overseas.
So we sell Italian pastas.
We
Okay.
also sell local pasta that is Sonoran Pasta Company.
Okay.
So they service a lot of restaurants and some other shops in town. But when Brent branched out from his restaurant gig, he was doing a lot of like events and stuff like that, and decided to get a pasta machine, and he's grown that business. But he's using the correct grains for
Okay.
pasta, and then we're also bringing in like dried pastas from Italy.
Yeah,
along
that's
with
pretty
our
cool.
olive oil.
Yeah.
See, I feel like not a lot of people know
0-0.
that. That's good for, hopefully, through the podcast and just word of mouth, like, for people to know.
Yeah,
That's-
absolutely.
that's
Down to
huge.
the bread we sell. You know, it's all legit.
Wow.
That's my trifecta when I walk into your shop. Some sort of cut of beef, a loaf of that nice big bread, and then that raw milk. Like, boom.
Yeah,
that just
that's a
like
good-
sets me up for the week, you know? That's what I live off.
Well, we're pretty close there. I'm a meat and a bread kind of guy right now.
Yeah.
Recently,
Yeah.
I'm not huge on carbs, but that Nice Buns is a bakery that we've been getting now for a little bit, and it's legit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sourdough?
Yeah.
Dude, fresh sourdough is so good.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, I got to take a cold plunge so I can actually enjoy this conversation because I have to.
Let's do it.
So, you guys can roast in here if you want, but I'm dying.
After you, brother.
That's just one.
Think if they do
The guy said he's seen like 70.
Was it like
Auto Trader the last few years. Auto Trader?
Where did you buy it off? Craigslist.
I've done 3. I mean, I've had to buy trucks for the company and stuff, so I've done that before.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
the third one I purchased from a private party.
I believe in karma.
But yeah, there was a point where I was just, I
love you,
surrendered the fact that I was like, fuck, I just lost all
And
that
so the
money.
insurance
Like, I'm an
company just has to
idiot.
cut your check.
They did. I mean, they did because there was case law in place.
Gotcha.
So, but I didn't know that until like 2 months into the
Right, you were
investigation.
sweating it for 2 months.
Yeah.
Dude, that's
And
rough.
still then, even then, I was sweating until the money hit the account.
Right.
Because they took the truck pretty quickly.
Yeah. Well, they let me drive it for like 2.5 months. He was pretty cool, like the detective, because it was in the middle of the summer. I'm like, well, shit, I was planning on using this.
Yeah, what do you do?
Yeah.
Wow.
Brutal.
Anyhow, I guess we're back on
Let's
the
talk about,
mic.
let's
Yeah.
talk about the meats.
Yeah.
Back, baby. So what like it I don't know if you mentioned this, like what made you want to start Arcadia Meats, so
So, I've been through the ringer. I put my body through a lot, for sure. And I was always pretty athletic and just kind of kept myself in shape. But I went on the beginning of a Ironman journey, I would say. And a buddy of mine, we were doing some trail races and decided, hey, we're going to do Ironman. Well, that's kind of changed my life. Not that I'm not training right now or anything, but that kind of put me on the path of being healthy. And right around that time, I went to a men's weekend called the New Warrior Training with MKP, the Mankind Project. And I came out of that. There was a sweat lodge ceremony. I just had this aha moment. I've got to be sober for a year, because I definitely was not.
yeah.
And around that time, I decided, to really start training for Ironman, like the next month. I went to Burning Man the next year, and I met some people there that, really just kind of opened my eyes to, other parts of the world. And one of those people was my ex-wife. So she was from Europe. She was living in Spain at the time. So I had gone back to Spain to visit with her. We ended up, long story short, is one vacation to visit a mutual friend for his 50th. That's when we really got together and met, and we were engaged quickly. I went to visit her because I was living in Texas at the time for a few years. I started a flooring company, and I learned about the food there through her.
Right.
I had no clue what a Roundup Ready seed was, or I had no idea what Monsanto was, and the fact that there's glyphosate and everything, and all the stuff that's in the air and the water and blah blah blah. It's scary, When I learned that, I'm like, well, shit, I've got to get involved. And I had done a lot of flipping in the past. That's kind of what I did out of college. I got fortunate enough to work for a family friend. He had money, and he was able to start purchasing in Texas, and I just managed all the stuff that he did for him and his investors. And that's how I started to kind of accumulate some money to be able to do something like Arcadia. And I didn't get sick of it, but I got discouraged after one really big loss with a house. And then also by that point, the hedge funds had all moved in, and values here had gone crazy. And I think I mentioned my cousin had been an investor in Arizona grass-raised beef. I started doing that. I was doing the market on Saturdays in Old Town Scottsdale, which was amazing. Felt so good to leave there and then go up Monday through Friday, go out and pound the pavement with chefs. I'm like, fuck this.
Yeah.
And so I started to work in our plant in the cut room. And as an owner, they wouldn't even let me cut steaks. I'm like, no, you go ahead and cut the bones. You get to cut the bones, just box these bones. Don't worry about cutting steaks. We got this. I had zero experience.
Yeah.
And I started to see the product that we had in our plant going out in these little foam trays. And I'm like, this is not right. And we were in all the natural grocery stores at that point. I just thought, you know what? There is a need for a clean butcher shop. And Ronnie up at the meat market in Cave Creek was open. She's great. I encourage anybody to go visit them. Her and her team are fantastic. She's also a whole animal shop, and they got a little place up there, but they do a lot of good work. So I had seen her business and then, kind of just ran with it. So I hit the ground in July of 17, or in June of 17. I left and toured as many butcher shops as I could between here, California, Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Colorado. It was like 22 or 23 shops. And out of all those, like 3 were all animal.
Yeah.
I'd literally walk it. I'd drive somewhere for hours. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to check this place out. And I'd just walk in and I'd smell and well, this is commodity meat. And
really?
Look at everything.
You can tell just by the smell?
I'm not going to say yes, but I felt like I could.
Wow.
Like for sure.
Sure
They all have a similar smell.
Yeah.
And like, I think when you come in our shop, you could, there's a lot of compliments, and I don't know that that's truly because of the quality of what we're cooking, because everything down to the spices is organic, but there's definitely a different feel. Yeah. And so I knew that that's not what I wanted, and I was really trying to get any data and information about like what are people moving? Like how many hogs are they going through in a week? Like how much beef are you going through? How much hamburger? All that kind of stuff. And nobody wanted to really give me any information. So it was just kind of like, well, fuck it, I'm moving forward and we'll figure it out. Yeah. And so I had pieced together some suppliers, and when we opened, I originally was offering Arizona grass-raised beef and then also a Wagyu Angus cross out of Colorado, from a guy that he had a smaller herd, but it was really good quality stuff. And I love the genetics, but it just proved to be way too expensive for me to truck up there every month and pick up what I was picking up. I mean, the first order I had eight beef in my van, and it was in December before I opened, and I was almost out of gas outside of Santa Fe in the middle of the night. Shit. I was shitting my pants.
It's an expensive haul.
Yeah, it would have been. I mean, it was freezing outside, so I guess it would have been all right. But yeah, it was still like I was just learning it. I wanted to offer everything I could, and then as time went on, I decided to kind of fine tune things, and we've got a pretty good lineup right now. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's rad.
I have so many questions, and I don't want to get sidetracked. So you have a butcher shop there, right? Mm-hmm. So, and there might not be any money in this. It might be kind of an offshoot, but would you ever get into, a lot of guys hunt in Arizona. And so if guys were to bring like a quartered elk or deer, would you ever get into that? Like processing wild game? Okay.
I don't have enough space to separate it all and store it. And I would love to. Yeah. But I just don't have the room. Yeah. Some other places do that, and it's a great business. Had I known what I was getting into and like that I wanted to offer that, I might have tried to get a little bigger space, but honestly, there wasn't a lot available. Yeah. I had the lease signed, or I had it in my hands to sign on a location that was down the road just on 38th Street. It was a little bigger, but it still wasn't that big. And then this spot opened because there was a business that had pulled out last minute when they built the building. It was all brand new. They built it up, and then this one business decided they were not going to go in. And so my cousin called me and said, "Hey, there's an opening." And so, I kind of knew the developer just through my another cousin, and here we are. Yeah. So it worked out because I wanted it to be clean. I didn't want to be taking on an older building if I didn't have to. Yeah. And from that was great because it allowed us just to kind of keep things the way they are.
When you open PV meats, you can have room to process wild game. There's so many dudes that hunt that I'm sure would give you the business for.
Just open up a game processing.
Yeah.
For the next cut room, and then just provide all the stuff that we do in the shop up there. Yeah. Right next to the Scottsdale Meat Market, like they did to me. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't even, never even been in.
Hey, you guys can go in there. It's on 32nd Street in Indian School. Go check them out. See if they're a butcher shop.
Yeah, check it out. Never heard of them.
No, there's another one up here somewhere, but it's all good. There's enough in it, enough meat for everybody to sell, and honestly, we couldn't cover everybody.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's all good.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, dude, for real, getting back to it, it's something that should be available to everybody. I think, you know, and my whole thing, and I've argued with Shauna over here about this, is like, you know, when it comes to like the yeah, well, I've brought this up before though, but like the price of food, you know, it sucks that it's high sometimes, but
You get what you pay for.
Yeah, exactly.
I believe that, and I know what we pay on the rail live, you know, down at auction, and I know what it costs to process. I know what it costs to run our plant. I know what it costs, you know, to run the butcher shop, and it's not cheap.
Well,
you know?
my mindset is, you know, this is just me personally. Like, I would rather eat less and eat better, you know, than just stuff my face with cheap food all day. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
That's a cultural problem in the U.S. though.
Yeah.
The extra large, you know, servings and it's
even
messed up.
3 square meals. Like I eat once a day usually.
That light going,
Yeah.
man,
I do.
just
for the
threw it
most
to the
part,
bus.
I'll eat just dinner.
Yeah,
Like,
fast.
Sometimes
yeah.
somebody's like, "Hey, you want to go to lunch?" I'll go.
Sure.
You know, I'm not like super strict about it,
Yeah.
but I eat a big dinner.
Yeah.
You know, most of it's meat.
You look pretty
And
damn healthy too. I mean,
I
you're
feel great
doing
too.
something
It's
right.
like I'm 41. I'll be 42 in a few months, and I feel better than I've felt. In a
Yeah.
long time.
Heck yeah.
Do you guys do like subscription services where people get like, you know, whatever delivered on a monthly
We
basis?
did before the holidays. It was a box that we offered on our site, and right
Yeah.
now it's not up because I've got 3 on my team. It's me
Oh,
plus 3.
shoot,
So
okay.
when we're hiring, so if any of you are looking for a job and you have butcher experience or meat cutting experience, shoot me an email, Nick at Arcadia Meat Market.
Nick
or,
at Arcadia Meat Market.
But yeah, we're looking to bring somebody else in so we can do more of that.
Yeah.
We do sandwiches every Friday.
Okay.
But right now, my guys are stretched.
Yeah.
And I'm stretched. So, you know, those are all things that we can do when we
Yeah.
have the right
Yeah.
infrastructure, the right people in place.
And I'm sure you don't want to grow, you know, too fast, too soon. Like you deliver a good product, and so you don't want to expand. You know, am I wrong? Am I wrong there? Like you want to keep a good quality control and
I'm an
continue to give
entrepreneur.
a good
I want to
product.
go and get big and all that, but then the reality sets in, and it's like, oh shit, like,
Yeah.
this is a lot of work, and
Yeah.
like just the man hours for production is incredible. Like every week, what we put in,
Yeah.
and then the service side of things, and then you know keeping the place clean and
Sure.
all, you know. So I definitely, I mean, I've looked at spaces all over the valley.
Yeah.
A couple different times.
Yeah.
And like you got me at a point right now where I'm pretty comfortable just being, you know, in one place and just
Yeah.
kind of focusing on what we're doing. But of course there's a vision. You know, when I opened, I wanted 3 to 4 locations.
Okay.
You know, Northwest Valley, North Central Valley, like 51 and the 101.
Sure.
Like out by Arrowhead, and then
Okay.
Gilbert.
Yeah.
Plus Arcadia. Is
Gilbert's
pretty,
blowing
pretty
up,
good
dude.
footprint. But you know, for now, it's just what it is.
Yeah.
And you
Well,
know, I'm
you-
thankful to have the business that we have.
When
right
you've
now.
passed the test of time, I feel like a lot of guys that start businesses, you know, what have you been around 8, 9,
7 years.
7 years? Like to be running a successful business after 7 years, I don't think a lot of people can say that. So good on you, you know.
Wish it felt
You're
that
doing
way,
it.
but yeah, it's also Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you for sure. You know, I feel really fortunate that we're still doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, our customer base though, it's the people that come in and they want what we have, and it's like that's what makes it worth it. Because
Yeah.
when you haven't slept or you work your fucking tail off
Yeah.
for the week, to do it and not have that
Yeah.
makes it pretty rough.
Yeah.
You know, so
No,
we're
what's-
really lucky that we're not in a business where we have to deal with, other than price, you know, or availability. You
Yeah.
know, like some people push back on the price of something, or like, hey, why don't you have this? Like
Why
outside of
can't
that,
why
it's
can't
whole
I
other
get a
side to
tri-tip
it, like-
every day?
yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I snagged your last tri-tip the other day. It was
so that's why you said that.
I never it had like a big layer of fat on the bottom.
Oh, delicious.
I've never gotten one with that before. Usually it doesn't have any fat on it.
So when you take the fat and any of the silver skin off, it's called denuding. I always cook it with the fat.
Yeah.
I'll smoke a
I
tri-tip for
love
like
it,
an
yeah.
hour and then finish it on like a cast iron.
Uh-huh.
So it has that smoky flavor, and then you know it also gets grilled or
Yeah.
in a pan. But I like to serve stuff, at least in the case, to where the customer has the option.
Right.
So if they want something trimmed, we can always trim it.
Yeah.
Like it's never like, hey, you have to buy it this way unless
Yeah,
we're talking
yeah.
like a flank steak. We don't split a flank. But everything is by weight.
Dude, if anybody hasn't had like grass-fed fat, like the fat on a steak, it's grass-fed is so good.
We sell
So
just
good.
the fat, and people come in and buy it. In
Really?
cubes, and they'll just like I eat it as a snack.
Yeah.
You just put that on low in a pan with a little bit of salt. Just let it sit. And you just
Crisp
turn
up
it.
a little bit.
Let each side hit the pan for a little bit, so it
Yeah.
just gets golden brown and just renders low temperature. Though it's phenomenal. It's a
Yeah.
great snack.
Do you guys sell your bones as dog bones?
Yeah. We sell dog bones. We sell soup bones. We sell raw dog treats. So we take all the trimmings
Yeah.
and we take offal from the lamb and the beef.
Okay.
That we get, and we mix all that in. I grind it and then put it in a box, freeze it, and then cut it into like little 1-inch cubes.
Wow, dude.
So people come in, and that's $6 a pound.
So what's how
So
big
it's like
is
a big. I mean, we sell it in a bag that's $20 to $25.
Okay.
You know, like a 4 to 5 pound bag. You
We'll
can
have
get
to
less.
come
but,
see you on
like, that's
Friday.
all. That's in the freezer on the bottom.
Okay.
On the bottom shelf.
Telling you, dude, it's a special place down
Yeah.
there.
Well, I've driven by it for years, dude. Like,
Get your
I
ass.
feel like a dick. I've never been in. But
What's-
No.
what's
I
this-
mean, I understand the parking lot's a motherfucker.
well, and also
well, help us out. When's the best time to pull up?
I mean,
What day? What
if
time?
you're looking for zero traffic, Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Thursday.
Okay.
If you're looking for like the fullest case, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
Park across the street on the south
Yeah,
side
yeah,
of
yeah.
Indian School
Yeah,
next to
I've
the
done
loan
that, yeah.
place.
Yep.
We used to be able to park in the neighborhood just north of us, but they made that permit only. The guy that owns the building to the east of 40th Street whoever owns that is an asshole. They tow cars. They towed my van on a Saturday. when
be
I was at
nice,
work.
dude. To the east.
Yeah,
Don't be a dick.
Just let people park and pick up their
Yeah.
shit. But yeah, our lot's a mess, and the valet ends up kind of
Clogging it up even more. Yeah.
But it's just if you're patient, stay around the perimeter, or just park across the street on the south side of Indian
That's the
School.
move.
You're
Yeah,
good to
just
go.
walk across the street.
You do sandwiches on Fridays?
on Fridays.
So is it just like whatever
one
cut you
sandwich.
have? Or okay,
One sandwich for the day. We used to do 5.
okay,
We've had various renditions of our sandwich program.
Okay.
But currently, at the moment, we're not doing any.
No, okay.
Until we hire.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just
Okay.
too tight. I'm on the road on Fridays picking up beef,
okay.
and
Where are you picking it up from?
our plant, Chino Valley. So I
Chino
go up,
Valley?
from door to door. It's about an hour and 45 minutes.
Let me do that, and you can make sandwiches on Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be your
We're
first
there.
customer.
We're there on Wednesdays in Chino Valley with a refrigerated truck, baby. We'll talk off.
Yeah.
off
This
the-
is beautiful
yeah,
watching
yeah,
this
yeah,
happen. This is
yeah.
great.
We got freezers
Well,
worked
we're gonna
out.
make-
we got
we're gonna
delivery
make it
worked
work.
out.
But yeah. All right, let's do one more plunge, and then we'll come back in and say our peace and goodbyes. Cool. We got too sweaty on the light.
You say brisket for a pound? 14. And if it's through the website, I think it's 12 or something. So I've never had like good grass-fed brisket. Like I'll buy it at Costco or whatever. You can tell difference, right? I mean, any grass-fed meat I've had is phenomenal.
You may or may not like it as much, So, but if you think that everything you've had so far is
Oh,
great,
yeah.
you're probably gonna love
I
it.
fucking love the fat, dude. I'll cut the fat off
I mean, if
first.
you know how to cook,
Yeah.
and I'll say this, like, there's not a difference. You cook to temperature.
Yeah.
Like, if the cow has intermuscular fat and marbling, it's gonna cook the same. It's fucking muscle.
Yeah.
And
I do a
it's
lot of
fat.
smoking, so everything's about that temperature to pull, temperature to wrap, when to pull
Yeah,
it
I mean,
off.
you know what you're doing then, and that's how I cook is to temp for like everything other than like quick steaks and grub.
Yeah,
all that
yeah.
kind of shit.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm doing brisket, I want to know that it's hitting like 198 to 202.
Yeah.
You know, like if I'm gonna want it to fall apart, like
Yeah.
I use a thermometer, which I usually don't ever
Yeah.
do. I tell everybody, and we sell them. For
You fucking up briskets up, you know you got to use the thermometer.
no shit. And I've had the smoker turn off, and I'm out at the shop, and there's 3 briskets in the smoker that go bad. I'm
Yeah.
like, motherfucker.
Yeah, dude. Fucking
Damn
buzzkill.
it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you learn enough. You lose enough meat when you pay attention.
My heart's in my throat.
How long have you been open?
2016.
Where'd you work before?
I was just selling wine and olive oil for my dad. Same thing. I was like in the wholesale game, and I got kind of sick of that. Like I was doing well with it, but I was looking around, going like, I can't sell anymore because I'm the delivery guy. And I was like, there's nobody has a delivery service. And I was like, I know there's other people that need this. So I just kind of fucking winging a prayer. Got it
So
going.
the bulk of your business is all wholesale though, right? Or is it direct to consumer?
We do a lot of general freight logistics for people, but yeah, more and more we've really dialed in mostly beer, but we do beer, wine, and spirits.
But
So
your pivot is interesting too. Like you started with the idea of I'm gonna help these wine people
Yeah,
out, and then the wine people are like, "Fuck you! I don't want this." And then the beer people are like, "Dude, I need you." And
yeah, well,
now
no,
you do it all. It's just
wineries are
fascinating.
just all the local ones here. They're all just like old people. They make pretty bad wine, and they're just fucking around. There's not really that many serious Arizona wineries.
Yeah,
is the
and
problem. But
they-
the breweries, they're all young and hungry people that need to make a living. Most of the people that have wineries here are just rich people fucking around.
And they're
you know?
fine with the big distributors just
Well, they're-
still selling their shit.
or not, or no distribution.
Yeah.
No, well, and even worse than that, they're just, a lot of them are just stupid. Like this one guy I sat down with, he's paying $1 a case per month to store it in some non-temperature controlled place up in Cottonwood. And I was like, dude, I'm 40 cents a case, and it's 65 degrees. And he had like thousands of cases, right? And I'm like, every month I'll save you a couple $1,000, and I can deliver it to Tucson, to Flagstaff, to wherever you want. And he was just like, nah. I was like, all right.
Okay.
I got out of the meeting. I was like, fuck this. I drove all the way to Tucson to a brewery guild meeting, and they're all like, fuck yeah, like let's go. You know, I was like, all right, these are my people. And I was like, I'm done with these stupid fucking wineries.
Well, it's hard to sell somebody that doesn't want to sell
Or-
and make money.
Yeah.
and make the right decision.
Yeah, they're all just dicking around for the most. There's a couple of them that are.
But
you know.
your like life cycle of your client is super interesting too, because he takes the distribution on, but they still need to sell. Like they get to control the selling of it, if where they want to go, how they want to.
Which
do
they're
it.
better at that
And
piece
then-
anyways.
But they
yeah.
hit these walls where they like want to expand more, but they don't want to hire. So these big boy distributors that do have the sales teams out in place, they'll whore out to them thinking that these guys are going to go sell their shit all over the valley. Meanwhile, it just sits in a warehouse for months and months and months and months
Yeah,
and
and
months.
they can't.
So he's
yeah.
watched these people like come through. He's doing killer work for them, and then they get one offer of like, "Oh, we'll sell your shit." They bounce, and then they go to like the dark side, and they're like, "Dude, should never."
Then
It's just a
five
few-
years later, they're
It's
out
the
of
same.
business,
Like I'm
yeah.
sure with just big time. Like, oh, we'll be in everything. We'll be everywhere, and then they realize they're sold a bill of goods, and they've lost total control of the distribution or ownership of. Like Tombstone Brewery, like they just had such an epic thing going where like literally people would follow his truck to and from the different places that they were dropping off because they had this cult following. But then when they wanted to get bigger than that and get in the Fry's and the Costco's and the
Sprouts
Whole Foods and the Sprouts,
Now
they
nobody
fucking killed
gives a
it
shit about
because
them.
the exclusivity went away, and now they're just in everywhere.
Dude, I went
Anyways,
to the,
it's
I went
just
to the brewery
fascinating to
like a
watch
year and a
that
half ago. It was
sales.
a pretty cool place.
Yeah, it is. They're great
Yes.
people, but yeah, too many people make that mistake. And then they're more miserable, you know.
Well,
Because,
we get signed on with distributors and they want exclusivity, and it's like, are you kidding?
yeah,
Like you're gonna be the only distributor that distributes our beef? Like, come on.
yeah,
Oh, we have sales, and I was like, no, it doesn't really matter. Your guys aren't selling our shit because they make more money off of the commodity.
right.
Creeks.
Yeah, they're
like,
incentivized. They're salespeople. Yeah, it's and that's literally why I started this. Like these distributors are they're traps for most small producers. It just doesn't work.
Good for you for that being
Yeah.
like the reason.
Yeah.
And that's your why.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I saw it. I was managing. So my dad's winery. We were in 20 states at one point. I was flying around, and all these distributors, they just
I
suck.
just do numbers.
They're terrible. I'd fly there. I'd sell a couple pallets of wine. I'd leave. They wouldn't sell that for the
I'm
whole
happy
year.
to talk.
You know, they just then the next supplier comes in, they just sell their shit, you know, for that week.
And then what happens if you bought a jeweler?
They just they'll buy like not like
They don't pay for it.
they will they just they don't do volume. They just like they sell a lot of wine, but only like they have like 1,000 wineries, so they sell like 10 cases of each winery, right? It's like it doesn't move the needle. Like me myself, I'd sell 5 pallets a month, you know, just here. It's not. It's just self-distributing is the way to go. The hard part was the logistics. Like, how do I get a case to Flagstaff without paying Marmalade or doing it myself? Spending 5 hours on the road, you know, to deliver a couple cases. You know, so that was
the way it works is I have
36
in my nationwide account, and then this other company pulled all my extra. So there's $200,000 in this.
All right, guys, let's get back in there.
And it's just, but I just keep my 10 grand limit in nationwide to keep them. Yeah, I have a 457, a 401.
Talking money shit with Sean.
I'm gonna do a podcast now.
Yeah, Sean's gonna get one going.
Yeah, do it.
You gonna get me on?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get all you guys.
Sweet.
That's
Do
the
it.
fun side. Is just talking to normal folks about it.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, dude.
Let's talk about what does this mean? Like,
Yeah.
Who's doing what?
Yeah, well, it's tough when you're talking about your money. I don't know anything about investing, so I want to trust who's doing it. And
Yeah, another podcast.
Yeah.
Talk for hours about that shit.
sweet.
Don't have time for that. All right, well, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you, Nick, any interest in trying some jiu-jitsu out?
The answer's got to be yes.
Yes, I've done it. It's been a long time.
Where'd you do it?
So there was a guy, Rico Rodriguez, that was on 32nd Street in Bell a long time ago when I was in high school.
Did
So
he
I did
fight
it.
in the UFC?
He did.
Yeah, big heavyweight dude,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
remember.
Yeah.
Remember watching him fight.
Yeah, so I trained with him when I was like a junior in high school
Okay.
for a little bit. And then I trained at Megatone. I
Yeah.
can't say I trained at Megatone. I've been there a few times. A friend of mine is a black belt there.
Okay.
So
That's like a competition gym. I have a buddy who trains there, and that's like the dudes who are trying to go to the next level.
yeah,
Like,
I got my rib fucked up, and that was the last time I was there.
Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha. Yeah.
Dude fucking handled my shit. For real.
Please come check out
Dude,
Aries
yeah.
PV. The group of dudes, like right around the same age, all fathers. A lot of dudes own their own business.
Cool.
And I heard Luke tell you earlier, like everybody in there is trying to be the best version of themselves as a father, as a business owner, whatever you're doing in your personal life. But then you go in and just push each other on the mats, and it's therapy for me.
It is.
Let Luke beat me up every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning.
It's such a good group of people. This gym is incredibly special. We'll talk more out on the fire about it, but dude, it's a not, there's no meatheads in there. Like, there's some really high level jiu-jitsu people in there, but like everybody's taking care of each other, you know. There's very few injuries going on in
And at the
that
end of the
gym.
day, you got to keep people not injured so they can train with you.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Yeah, no,
cool.
I love being competitive and physical and all that shit.
Yeah.
So
Cool thing
Well,
too. He was talking about Kabe. Can't say enough.
He's
good
the
about
owner of
this
that
dude.
gym. Yeah, Kabe.
Fucking raddest guy you'll ever meet. But if you're a homie and you want to come in for an open mat, or if you want to try a class, like, he's usually pretty cool about guys dropping in and just checking it out.
Okay.
A lot of gyms, like, you got to pay $20 every time you come in. Like, any open mat that we have or dropping in for a class, like, his whole thing is like, be a good dude, good vibes, treat people with respect, and come get some rolls in.
I'll have to take you up on it.
Yeah.
Hell
Be
yeah.
cool.
Can't turn that down.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, it's good.
Well, just wanted to say thanks again for coming in, doing the pod, and thank you for your business, man. I really appreciate it. I love people, you know, doing things like what you're doing. I think it's good for the culture, community, health, all that stuff. And I, like I said, truly wish there's more businesses like yours all around town.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you having me on for sure.
Absolutely.
It's nice in here.
Boom.
Yeah.
All right, Sean in the corner. You got anything to say?
No, that was an awesome conversation
All right.
from another entrepreneur.
Boom.
Yeah, it's just great to see, and congrats on the success. And
Thank you.
yeah, just keep it
Appreciate
up.
it.
You got an epic mission, and
What's the?
Trying to feed the people, you know.
That's right.
Yeah.
What's the Instagram? Arcadia Meat.
Arcadia Meat Market.
Meat Market.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Everybody go check out Arcadia Meat Market, Indian School and 40th Wednesdays.
No, we're open Tuesday to Friday from 10:30 to 5, and Saturday we're open from 10 to 5.
Yeah.
We're closed Sunday, Monday. If I could be open on Sunday, I would. I grind and do all the production on Mondays, and I need the door locked.
Yep.
So,
Hell yeah.
if you're lucky to catch me, I'll help you out.
Yeah.
Hey.
I'm there.
That's what's up. All right.
Thanks.
Well, thanks again. Appreciate
Yeah, Nick,
everybody
yeah.
for listening. We'll see
Thanks,
you on the
dude.
next one.
Yeah.
All right. Peace.